Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the C Squared podcast. In today's episode, we have a redo of one of our very special guests from the past. That is Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, who's once again here, not to talk about all the beautiful educational content that he's been providing and all the good improvement tools that he's been talking about throughout the years, his commentary and whatnot, but to be talking about a very specific topic that has been affecting and in fact pretty much capturing the chess world by storm for the last couple of weeks, and that is, of course, the cheating allegations brought by Vladimir Kramnik, or as he says, just I think suspicions or questions. It's never specifically cheating. So that will be the focus of our episode today. Dania, welcome back to the show. To begin, I would briefly ask you to more or less tell us, when did you first become aware about these allegations from Kramnik, or questions?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, first of all, Christian. Fabi, it's always an honor to come on your show. I had such a blast the first time, and obviously the topic will definitely shift today, but I'll try to offer my completely unfiltered thoughts. At this point, I couldn't censor myself if you asked me to, and I know that's a weird statement coming from Daniel Naroditsky, the master of political correctness and self-filtering, but not today. Not today. When did I first become aware? I think there were stages to this thing, right? I mean, obviously, I understood that because of the disparity in my blitz results and my lack of classical chess and my OTB blitz results, I would, there was a chance that I would end up under Kramnik's crosshairs. He tweeted about me, like, insinuatingly a couple of times, I think, or maybe just once. But it was together with a bunch of players like Benjamin Buck, and like Esipenko and just like complete randos. So I didn't think anything of it. Then he escalated it with a tweet about my Title Tuesday performance and the fact that, my cap score or whatever was 90 plus in 10 games and nobody had done it since Magnus. So that's when I thought, okay, I kind of see where this is going. But it wasn't until he put out that first video about me, the farming, right? The new series, that I understood that I was sort of next in line after Hikaru. But still, I thought, okay, he was going to put out 3 or 4, crazy delusional videos, and then he would move on to the next target. And eventually, the chess world would wake the heck up and just, the negative feedback in his direction would convince even him that it was time to lay down his arms and change his behavior. Unfortunately, I feel like almost the opposite has happened, and it became apparent to me at some point that this is no longer a case of sort of me being next in line, but this is a sustained, evil, and absolutely unhinged attempt to destroy my life. And I really don't, I'm tired of mincing words at this point. He is trying to ruin my life. He's trying to inflict emotional harm, physical harm on me. He knows exactly what he's doing, and this is one of the most wicked people that I've ever dealt with, and one of the most wicked acts that I've dealt with probably in my life. So the full extent of it has only been apparent to me for a couple of days, Christian.
Now, how did you initially react? And you touched a little bit upon this, but how did you initially react to this accusation in terms of also psychology? I want to know your mental state at that point, because obviously when you're so embedded into the chess world, pretty much your whole career, your professional life is surrounding the chess world. Now, when you get accused, even if those accusations don't necessarily have a lot of substance to them, you still get stained by it, right? So obviously that takes a toll on your mental health as well. What was your first reaction, and can you tell us a bit about your mental state at that point? Like, were you in defensive mode? Now, obviously, I feel like you're quite offensive. You want to get your point across, but the first initial, let's say, level.
Yeah, I mean, I think my reaction has changed, and I think it's super important to introduce kind of levels here and nuance. I think in general, nobody should react personally at the expression of like legitimate suspicions or even questions in the non-ironic way. Like, I'm just asking questions. Like, actual questions should and welcomed, I think, by players who have like anomalous statistics, and I do. I mean, I'm the first to say that, like, there aren't a lot of people who can hit, like 3,200 and they're 26-20 FIDE and retired from classical. Okay, so at first I wasn't happy with the kind of nasty, insinuating tone. I went on Levitov Chess, the Russian channel, 7 months ago, and this was after Kramnik had put out his first tweet about me. Um, and I talked a little bit about that, and so I was more than happy to sort of dispel any suspicions that had occurred. And I think it's really incumbent upon the quote unquote onliners to act in good faith and to show that if they truly have nothing to hide, then what does it cost me to do a stream where I reveal my setup, or what does it cost me to put a second or third or 18th camera now behind me just to show that it's not a bot making the moves with my hand on the mouse? What does it cost me to publish my chess-based game history on a particular day? Nothing, right? I have nothing to hide. I'm happy to do those things, provided that the other party is like expressing legitimate suspicions in a polite way and making it very clear that this is not a personal attack. They want to be able to play me in peace, and I totally get that. So I was trying to act that way at the start, but the thing is, like, the level shifted from, okay, legitimate suspicions, legitimate questions, let's say. I express suspicions about players. I hope that they don't react in the same way and like, oh, Naroditsky's evil. How dare he, claim that this guy played all computer moves in our Title Tuesday game.
I think there is, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt
go ahead,
for a
Fabi,
second.
please.
I think there is an important distinction when it comes to, like, if someone is trying to prove their innocence, and even if they have no reason to need to try to prove their innocence, but there's a distinction between doing that behind closed doors. So let's say I think someone is perhaps suspicious, even if that's completely incorrect, and I bring it up to the player and to the organizer of whatever tournament. But it does feel like this is not really an issue for Twitter. Like, that can all be handled behind closed doors. So you provide your evidence that you're clean. They pose their questions, and everything is settled behind closed doors, which feels like it would be the proper approach, even if it has to be done at all, which I think in the vast majority of cases doesn't have to be done. Like, I think you don't really need to prove your innocence. Sorry, this microphone just came unstuck. But you don't really need to prove your innocence unless there is like some either smoking gun, or there is something so anomalous like a 2,300, beating Magnus several times in a row, or a 2,200 winning Title Tuesday, things like that. But within the realm of reason, also doesn't feel like there is much there, just from my perspective. Although I do understand, I have my fair share of paranoia, as everyone knows, and probably everyone does. But still, my main point was that I feel like it can be handled behind closed doors without making it an issue for a million anonymous people on Twitter to jump in the ring as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that take. And the perverse thing, and we can get to that, I'll wrap up my my opening statement, is that, like, now I can play a 2,400 in Title Tuesday and get destroyed in 30 moves, and the guy takes like 2 seconds to play a crazy move and then 30 seconds to capture my hanging rook. I will, like, say in the mildest possible way, I think this was a bit of an odd game. And boom, you're Kramnik, you're worse than Kramnik. Like, somehow he is allowed to bring his authority to bear and try to, like, destroy my reputation. Because, as you said, Christian, this is a stain. It's much harder to wipe. You can put that shirt in the laundry a million times, but the stain, it's hard to get the stain off. And it's hard when you come into, like, Anisha's chat or any chat and you're Naroditsky, you're like people are just being nasty about this, and it doesn't matter how many times I've discredited the source of these accusations or how absurd the accusations are on their face. We can get to Bishop C8, but Bishop C8 is as bad as the accusations made during the Salem witch trials in the 1690s. And I really want to talk about the witch trials because he is quoting verbatim from some of the interrogating techniques. So if he wants to return to Puritan Massachusetts in the 1690s, it was a great time to be alive. I think he should experience what daily life was back then, because clearly Vlad is a big fan of the legal process of that time. I'm in total disbelief at how this has been handled. And Christian, I really think at this point, this goes far beyond any kind of good faith desire to root out cheating, which I think is a tremendous problem of potentially unanticipated proportions in both online and over the board chess.
Now, to follow up on that question and to your emotions and, what Fabi said about bringing it in the public's eye, did you try to reach out to Vladimir privately after you heard of his accusations?
So in the spirit of openness, I will say that after my Levitov appearance, Kramnik recorded a reaction, a 2-hour reaction where he just basically disagreed with everything I said and was, I wouldn't charge him with being rude or anything, but it was, he felt very strongly that I had misrepresented the situation of online cheating. And he invited me to his show, but I was not interested. I mean, this is not my role in life. I'm a commentator. This is not my war to wage. And I was happy to get behind his efforts, provided that they were undertaken in good faith, even if we disagreed. So, I mean, I didn't go on a show, but I didn't realize that was sort of an obligation or expectation. I sort of made it clear that
just to make sure
this is Kramnik's channel.
Kramnik's show.
Yeah,
okay.
This is Kramnik's channel, and I kind of made it clear to Levitov that okay, like I'll let you fight your battle, and you let me fight mine. My battle is with bullet chess addiction. His battle is with chess cheating. We all have a role to play in life. Okay. Then, once the videos started coming out and escalating really, really quickly, I did not offer a direct dialogue, but I thought he would understand that my responses on the Twitch stream were a good faith effort to answer his questions. Like, I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. I made it very clear, what he was lying about, and he has lied about a staggering number of things, the vast majority of the things he said. But I didn't try to artificially escalate it. I mean, my rhetoric was very harsh, of course, as I think anyone's tone would be if you're accused of perhaps the most serious crime that you can commit as a grandmaster. A potential reputation destroying crime. So I was very firm, but I also tried to refute the particular charges that he was making. And I thought that would be case closed. But then everything I would say not only would be called a lie for no reason, he would just lies. It's almost like he said yesterday on the Levitov channel that you started it. He said that phrase, you started it. And I was like, this man needs psychiatric assistance stat. I mean, or maybe I'm just living in a different reality.